I would like to add that, you know what? I know that talking about eating meat and no one wants to listen to someone like me. No one wants to listen to someone like me talk about how eating meat is bad for you, something that you've done for your whole life is bad for you, and for some reason it's a really sensitive, touchy subject, and I get all that, I really do, but I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm not going to stop posting about it because people don't like to hear it. So if I lose followers or whatever, I don't care. I really don't care. This is my truth. This is something that I've come to experience and something I'm passionate about. And the reason why I'm speaking up is because there are not only victims that are suffering, but it's just the whole hypocrisy that I see in our society of people claiming to be animal lovers, and they love their animal companions, and they go to the dog park, and they let their animals be free there. But we don't afford that same freedom to other farmed animals. And these farm animals, we execute them, and their only crime is being born in the wrong body. That's where I have a big issue. Is they're obviously innocent, but my whole thing with this topic is, you know, I come across a lot of truthers and a lot of conspiracy realists. Everyone's kind of fighting for their freedom. Everyone's kind of realizing that, you know, we've been enslaved essentially for a while now, and we're starting to wake up, and no one wants to be enslaved, and no one wants to have these overlords who think they own us, and no one wants to deal with that, right? But those same people are so quick to take away the freedom of an animal. And that's just my main thing. That's my main thing. And so, yeah, I'm going to be that guy who brings this topic up that you don't want to hear. And you're free to unfollow me or you know, comment and on how much you or, you know, disagree or can't stand me or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. The message is more important. And that message is that if we want our freedom and we recognize that we have the right to our freedom, we must also recognize that right in other sentient beings who feel emotions and feel pain and joy and happiness, okay? That is my whole thing. So that's why I have the hashtag end speciesism. Because if we want real equality, if we want real liberation, if we want real justice, we will see ourselves in others. We will obey the golden rule. The golden rule. Treat others like you would want to be treated. And we've been conned, we've been tricked into not obeying the golden rule and not seeing ourselves in others and not, giving liberty to others. So we don't need to enslave animals to live and survive and be happy and thrive. We don't need to pay others to do it. We can survive. We can be really happy. We can live off the earth. We can learn from each other. We can have an amazing symbiotic relationship with the animals without murdering them. We can use what they offer as far as grazing and just their presence on the land, and we can utilize them and they utilize us. It's the symbiosis where we feed them and etc., make sure they're safe. And that to me makes a lot more sense than making these innocent, gentle beings suffer and go through trauma and all this stuff. It's just, stop creating demand for making their lives a living hell, and let's stop acting like, Nothing's going on, just because we can't see it, just because we're not around it. And let's just really look ourselves in the mirror and say, well, like, you know, what can we do every day to help the world, help the situation, you know? So in my eyes, going plant-based, being a vegan, it's one way you can help that, you know? And it's not going to save the world. It doesn't need to save the world. It's just one thing it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful stance you can take, you can do to say F you against injustice, F you against taking away others' freedoms that we want to be given, that we not given, but that's our natural right. It's our natural right, being of the Creator, a creation of the Creator. The Creator is within us. That, you know, if you enslave us, you're enslaving the Creator. You know, if you enslave the Creator's animals, you're enslaving the Creator. You know, you have to see this, you know, from the perspective of, would you want to be enslaved? Would you want a knife to your throat? You know, everyone has a different view on morality, and when you look at things from the victim's perspective rather than the oppressor's, suddenly the morality seems to shift. Suddenly, you know, if you picture yourself being in that little line that's headed to slaughter, and you see the blood, and you smell the blood, and you see others coming in but not coming out, you would want someone sticking up for you. You would want someone saying that's immoral, that's unjust, that's not righteous, that's not anything good. That's not needed. It's evil. You would want someone sticking up for you if you were the victim. And this applies to anything. If you just look at it from the victim's perspective, look at it from when a child is being abused. You know, the abuser, the pedophile or whatever, I'm sure they have a way of justifying whatever they're doing. You know, that's crazy. And that's what we see in this society, is like laws, you know, bending towards normalizing pedophilia. You know, so those oppressors are just looking at that through their eyes, that this makes me happy, this makes me feel good, you know, they're not seeing it from the victim's perspective of just being an innocent child being totally exploited and abused, and so, you know, we just really, it sounds like philosophical and everything, but it's really simple. You know, if we don't want to be harmed, if we want freedom, then we're gonna give that to other sentient beings. The problem is people don't see animals as being worthy of that freedom. For what reason though? Why? You know, if you think that your animal companion deserves that freedom, for someone not to just tear down your door and slit their throat, why isn't that freedom given to farm animals? Pigs are smarter than four-year-old children. They're finding, or as smart as. They're finding that cows are much more social than you would think. Like, they form very strong bonds, and they have favorites, and they hold grudges, and they are they have traits that are very human-like as far as social skills and stuff. And chickens are very intelligent. They have all these different vocalizations. They can recognize themselves. I mean, these animals are sentient. Fish are sentient. I mean, fish feel pain. They're smarter than we think as well, you know. So, I mean, look at a great white shark is a fish, right? Those are pretty intelligent beings, obviously a little bit different in size and everything, but it's this intelligence of these are creations of the Creator. So if you are harming the creations of the Creator, you know, you're harming the Creator essentially. And then you say, well, when you're picking plants or when you're harvesting plants, you're hurting the Creator's creations. No, Genesis 1:29. That is what is supposed to be our food. That is given to us. So we have to eat something. You know, we're birthed into this world, and we have to eat something. if we want to survive, right? Some people can just survive off sunlight, prana, but that's not the majority of us. Majority of us want food, and the healthiest food is plant matter that reverses disease. So that is our food, and it's clearly stated in the Garden of Eden. So if we want to go back to establishing the Garden of Eden, which sounds good to me, let's establish, reestablish. When I pray, I ask. I won't get into that, but yeah, I want to restore Eden and restore paradise and do what we can. And maybe that's just a pipe dream. Maybe that's not possible in this land of duality. But we can sure as hell give it our best effort to make that happen. And we're never going to get there if we're being hypocritical, contradicting ourselves, treating others how we would not want to be treated, only seeing things from the oppressor's perspective. You can justify eating animals if you're only seeing it from your perspective. Well, I need it to make me feel good, and I need it because of blah blah blah. I need big muscles or whatever your excuse is for eating it. Feeling good, it makes me feel good is the excuse these days. I think it's most common. So you can justify the heck out of doing whatever it is to animals that needs to happen to get that on your plate, because you're just seeing it from your perspective. The second you flick the camera on the other side, you see what they have to go through. They have their baby stolen, and you can make fun of Joaquin Phoenix all you want for him talking about that when there's rampant pedophilia happening in Hollywood. I get that, but the fact that he took a stand and used his platform to raise awareness. Hey, he's got balls, and I respect it. It's important to see things from the victim's perspective. If we want to see objective reality, not subjective reality. Okay, anyone can have some subjective experience. There's only one truth, and there's only one objective reality, and you really need to see it from different perspectives sometimes. And I think that's what a lot of carnists are failing to do. I gotta run. Hopefully you found this beneficial. Much love.